Mr. Roy, Mr. Parik, members of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce, members of the media, guests and friends. When I was a child, my most favorite car used to be the Fiat car. And I think the country knew only two cars, Ambassador and Fiat. And one was being manufactured in Calcutta and another was, one Bombay, but it was a Fiat from Italy. And when we started riding scooters, that was also, it's changed from Lamborghini to Hamara Bajaj, that scooter came. And I think it became the middle income group and the transport for the lower middle income group, so Italy was known and which introduced the transport to India. I mean, that was the power of Italy. We got the car from Italy, we got the scooter from Italy. So Italy has been a very, very important country for us. And this particular session, which is known as Leveraging Indo-Italian Business and Investment and Collaboration. So therefore, this is again a very, very important session where we want to see that how do we do business with each other, how do we collaborate with each other, and how do we, we have a very long-standing relationship. We have a very, very long-standing relationship. And this relationship goes back to over 2000 years, ancient civilization. If you if you want to know the history of the world, then I think one would be, if you go any part of the world, I think the things which you will see in Italy, you can see the monuments, the old structures, the civilization, Italian civilization. When we read history, we mostly read of the Italian civilization or the Egyptian civilization or the Indian civilization. So therefore, Italy has been also ingrained in us who has studied history. And I have studied history, so I know how Italy is important to us when we were as a student. So right from the Alexander and all that. And it's a lot of films, the Bollywood films have been based on Italy, like, Ben-Hur and which has been on Italian. So from our childhood, we have been taught that the importance of Italy in India. So, sir, friends, we will be having an interaction and we will be having with us today, apart from our Consul General, we'll be having Mr. Alessandro Liberatore, who is the Trade Commissioner, and Mr. Carlo Adami, who is the Financial Attaché from the Embassy of Italy in India. Then we have Mr. Amit Roy, President, and Mr. Pankaj Parik, Chairman of Eastern Regional Council from Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So you can understand that today's session, how important this session is. We have a lot of people here who are doing business with Italy. Mr. Chaudhary is here. Varun, sir, he is doing business in Africa. So I think today, after this session, he might consider doing something in Italy also. He runs 2 factories in Africa. So I think Italy is one country where, after meeting them today, you may consider that we have a lot of exporters who are either present here today who are working with Italy. I expected my wife to be here, but she is an absentee. But she's here. She just came in. So she's also, as I said, that my bread and butter also is from Italy. So as I told you, my wife also earns a lot of, they only does business with Italy. I mean, let me be very honest with you. She was cheated once by France. But I can only tell you, the payment was not made. But Italy has never, dissed her. She has always been getting payments right on due dates. So we have this high-level delegation here, sir. And India and Italy share a very strong bond on their common values, as I said, on regional and stability and international rule of law. We have a lot of speakers today, sir. One thing is what I would like to know about the Startup Bridge, which was recently started, and we would request the Italian embassy to enlighten us on this Startup Bridge and its implication with the industry, which is very, very important to us because this is a new area. When the Italian Prime Minister visited India, both the nation announced the elevation of bilateral relationship to the level of strategic partnership with the two countries on and entering into an understanding on the defense production. Sir, you will be happy to note that today we have kept Times of India today, which carried the advertisement. But if you have read the Times of India today, it carried also a news article that today, this year, 1922-23, our defense production has touched 1 lakh crore. Yeah. That's the level of defense production. And we have announced that 60% of the items would now be manufactured indigenously. So this is the importance which we are giving to the defense production. So I think there can be a very strong understanding between your country and our country as far as the defense production is concerned. And you will be happy to note that this chamber is a premier chamber in the Eastern India, having a different desk. And I think this year in November or December, there was an international defense exhibition in Ahmedabad, where Bharat Chamber of Commerce got a slot to speak on the defense production. So therefore, we would be facilitating the defense production in Eastern India. We also had organized an exhibition of the defense production in Eastern India just before COVID. We couldn't do it, and we are planning to have another exhibition this year of the defense production. So Bharat Chamber of Commerce is very, very active as far as the defense production is concerned, and we would like to collaborate with you. And a lot of our members are interested in defense production, particularly in relation to MSME sector. Sir, we recently also addressed the Defense Ministry asked us to hold a seminar here, which was also 3 months back. And you'll be surprised, they asked us to hold the seminar like in Florence, you have Prato. So similarly, in Calcutta, we have a area called Howrah, which is just after the Howrah Bridge, where a lot of MSME sectors are involved. And we were asked that we must have our seminar at Howrah. So we had to organize our seminar at Howrah so that most and a lot of MSME sector could attend that particular meeting, who are in that particular region, who are in MSME sector, apart from 3 large manufacturers from international manufacturers participated, like Boeing and others. But the point was that we wanted to stress MSME sector, as you are very strong in MSME sector. In West Bengal, we are very strong. At one point of time, we were the largest MSME units in India. Today, we are the second largest, I think second or third largest MSME units in Eastern India. So therefore, MSME is very, very strong in Eastern India, and we would like to cooperate and very strongly with you, apart from other areas, particularly on the defense sector, sir. Sir, as you know that this is one country where we have the surplus trade between USA, between Italy and India, though it is our volume of trade is in relation to around about $7 billion and odd. But we have 130 Italian companies operating in India. And but somehow or other, our trade accounts for only 0.52% of the FDI. So therefore, this is what we have received in last 20 years. So how do we have more and more trade between India and Italy so that it can grow? You are the third largest foreign investor in India. As far as the Italy is concerned, you are the seventh largest foreign investor in India, with an FDI of 3.25 billion. But I would like to have more and more trade between India and Italy, not just confine it to around about $7 billion. So, and as far as the machinery equipment is concerned, it comprises 36% of the total Italian exports to India. So this is one area which is very, very important for us. So I would like you, Mr. Liberati, to outline on the scope of the Italian investment for complementing the Make in India. What machinery to be imported so that, with that we can have more and more manufacturing in India, as far as collaboration between Italy and more particularly in relation to MSME. Another key area of cooperation is the energy transition. In 2021, the two countries had inked a strategic partnership on energy transition to advance collaboration in areas like green hydrogen and green fuel. Like yesterday, sir, I was in Delhi and I was attending one of the board meetings of very large company in India, and they were telling me that the renewable energy, they are now consuming 40% of their energy is now being used through renewable energy. And they said that they have put up the plant, both the plants were in Rajasthan. Unfortunately, because of the massive rain which Rajasthan received this year, they could not produce more power due to solar energy, but otherwise 40% of their now power is now coming through solar energy and wind energy through Rajasthan. So this is one area where we felt that, there could be a lot of collaboration, because we have to be going to the green world, and more collaboration on energy sector we can have. But the other thing is that if we can, the country is now entering into bilateral trade agreement with many countries instead of a regional-wise trade agreement, comprehensive trade agreement. So recently, we are in the process of concluding the trade agreement, free trade agreement with UK. We recently concluded free trade agreement with Australia. We concluded free trade agreement with United Arab Emirates. In fact, I was in Dubai during the signing ceremony of the bilateral agreement between India and UAE. I think apart from thinking of having a agreement, I don't know whether it is possible for the countries in the European Union to have a bilateral trade, or whether we have to have a comprehensive agreement with the European Union. But if there is a possibility of having a bilateral trade agreement, then we would like that, if we can work on that. Otherwise, our work is going on, but it is pending for last 11 years as far as the trade agreement between India and the European Union is concerned. So if there is a possibility that, the bilateral trade agreement can be a go-go between. The other important factor is people say that, the dollar is ruling the world. So India is now having a rupee trade agreement with many countries. We had a rupee trade agreement with Mauritius. We had a rupee trade agreement with Russia. We had a rupee trade agreement to a limited extent with Lanka. Recently, now we have announced that we will have a rupee trade agreement with 18 countries, which includes countries like even Great Britain and other European countries. Is it that there is a possibility, because there is not too much of trade gap between India and Italy? I mean, our export and import is more or less on an equal level. So why can't we have a rupee trade agreement with you? I mean, instead of having a trade agreement vis-a-vis the dollar or the euro, if there is a possibility, because that is going to enhance the business to a very, very great extent. I mean, it is going to give a lot of leverage for enhancing the trade between India and Italy. So I was thinking if this could be considered, because I'm very very optimistic about it, because I'm very, very optimistic about the power of the Indian rupee. Because if you really see the power of the Indian rupee, I think it's one of the strongest currencies today. Because I don't have to tell you what our economy is all about, but it is going to emerge one of the strongest currencies in the world, and it is still very strong currency. So therefore, I would suggest from my side a bilateral trade agreement. I would suggest from my side rupee trade agreement. I think we are very strong in textile. We are very strong in leather. Food processing is one area. He's there with railways, startups where we can we can collaborate with each other. A lot of people particularly from Eastern India are exporting leather goods to, I think, sir, you must be exporting to Italy as far as both of you must be exporting to Italy as far as the leather goods are concerned. A lot of textiles are being exported. Our chairman of the global trade, as he said, he was exporting on home furnishing. So I think this is one area where we can collaborate. My personal view is it will be a win-win situation if we do two things, the rupee trade agreement and a bilateral trade agreement. I think these two things will be a win-win situation for both the countries if this could be considered. And if you could have more dialogue and more collaboration, and if you can give us some idea, sir, as to what MSCs, what industries, or what kind of an equipment which we can import, and we can do manufacturing, as because what we need is a quality manufacturing, and which we, as you know, that it has been stated that we are the lowest cost manufacturing country in the world. Recently, it came out with the data that our labor cost, our other costs are very low as far as manufacturing is concerned. If you can have some kind of a paper where you can understand that what can we manufacture in Eastern India for the purpose of the local consumption, for the purpose of export, that would be, and which are your strong areas, which in relation to the capital goods, in which are your strong areas as far as the machinery in relation, because our machineries, we are importing it from China and other countries. As you know, that the tendency now is not to import from those countries. So therefore, Italy would be a right country for us to understand what are the capital goods which we can export, what are the areas where we can collaborate. Particularly, food processing is another area where we are very, very strong, and we can do a lot of business as far as Bengal is concerned, or the food processing industries are concerned. Sir, I think our members would like to hear from you rather than me, who is actually a lawyer and not a businessman. So therefore, but I read economics quite a lot. I keep on reading that. So it would be my pleasure now to ask my senior vice president, Mr. Naresh Ji, to introduce our speakers today to our members. Thank you, Naresh Ji. Thank you.
Thank you, President. His Excellency Dr. Gianluca Rubagotti, Mr. Liberatori, Mr. Adami, Mr. Roy, Mr. Parekh, members of the chamber, guests and friends. It is my pleasure and privilege to introduce our guest-in-chief and other key speakers at today's special session entitled Leveraging Indo-Italian Business and Investment Collaborations. On my immediate left, Dr. Gianluca Rubagotti is Consul General of Italy in Kolkata. He assumed his charge during the lockdown period of 2020. We had the privilege of being addressed by him at a special session in 2021. Dr. Rubagotti is a seasoned diplomat with the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, having served countries like Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Singapore, Pakistan, etc. He holds a PhD in International Economic Law from the Bocconi University of Milan and a master's degree in Environmental Law from the University of Milan. On the extreme left is Mr. Alessandro Liberatori, Trade Commissioner, Embassy of Italy in India. Mr. Alessandro Liberatori is the Trade Commissioner and Director of the Italian Trade Agency, ITA, New Delhi, and the coordinator of ITA offices in India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. He joined the ITA in Rome in 2000 and was designated as the Trade Commissioner to Croatia from the year 2006 to 2011, and as the head of the Business Assistance Division, as well as the Capital Goods, Energy, and Environment Department at the ITA headquarters in Rome. Before taking up his current position as the Director of the Italian Trade Commission, Embassy of Italy in New Delhi, he served as the Trade Commissioner to Jakarta, Indonesia, from 2015 to 2019. Mr. Liberatori would be delivering the keynote address at today's session. On the left of the President is Mr. Amit Roy, President, the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And he's also the Chief Representative at Intesa Sanpaolo, one of the top banking groups in Europe. He's a senior banker with over 20 years of experience with successful track record in building new business, managing business transformation, and ensuring sustained growth across economic cycles. He has been responsible in diverse roles and responsibilities across wholesale, institutional, and retail banking space for the Indian subcontinent region. He is well versed in the areas of corporate banking, trade and structured trade, correspondent banking, advisory services, mergers and acquisitions, project finance, and treasury products. On my immediate right is Mr. Carlo Adami, financial attaché in the Embassy of Italy in India, New Delhi. He has worked for the Bank of Italy prior to his appointment as the financial attaché at the Embassy of Italy. Mr. Adami is a PhD candidate of International Economic Relations at the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kyiv. Wish you all the best. He has extensively studied and gained expertise in economics, law, information technology, and international corporate finance from reputed universities. He has more than 15 years professional experience, and his research interests include economic intelligence, international corporate finance, and new technologies such as digitalization, cybersecurity, bitcoins, and fintech. All the areas which intrigues us all. On his right is Mr. Pankaj Parekh, Chairman, Eastern Regional Council, the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He is a mechanical engineer by education who ventured into his family business of jewelry in 1988. He became instrumental in exporting jewelry abroad, not limiting his scope to the local business. He was the first person from Eastern India to be elected in the Central Managing Committee of Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council way back in 1997. He has led or been a member of various gems and jewelry industry delegations to Italy, Latin America, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Middle East, etc. He has been a trade nominee in the Board of Bureau of Indian Standards for hallmarking of precious metal jewelry. In 2019, he was conferred with the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic, the highest ranking honor of Italy, in appreciation of his efforts at enhancing bilateral trade. Currently, he is involved in setting up jewelry parks in collaboration with the government of West Bengal. I would now request Mr. Alessandro Liberatori to deliver his keynote address. Thank you.
Good morning to everybody. Buongiorno, as we say in Italian, namaskar. First of all, thanks a lot to Mr. Kaitan, the president of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this important event, this important meeting with you, all of you. And of course, good morning to everybody for being here. So numerous today. I would like to also to thank Mr. Naresh Pakisia, Senior Vice President of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce, and also Mr. Vikram Tantia, Chairman Global Trade Subcommittee, Bharat Chamber of Commerce, and of course all the members of the committee. I would like also to thank our Consul General of Italy in Kolkata, Mr. Gianluca Lobagotti, for being so proactive in making this event possible and to allow us to give you some information, some data, some glimpse of Italy to this important business community. I want also to say hi to Mr. Amit Roy, the president of the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce, who is a very, very supportive and proactive player of the Italian ecosystem in India, and of course to my colleague Carlo Adami, financial attaché of the Embassy of Italy in India. I would like to show a presentation, so if you can tell me how I can apart from last year, due to the energy deficit, due to the war in Ukraine, that for the first time we register. So it's the eighth largest economy in the world. Amounted to 625 billion euro, and Italy is the second manufacturing. In terms of investment destination, as an investment destination, and again, in the last few years, Italy has been experiencing a positive trend. In 2022, it has been the seventh among the 25th most attractive economies. In 2021, it was the 8th, the 10th in 2018, and 16 in 2016. So this is the positive trend. Italy has shown a very good sign of resilience, and the Italian GDP has been increasing by 3.7% in 2022. Also, the FDI inflows to Italy turned again positive at 16 billion euros, and the positive trend is confirmed also for 2022 with 26 billion euros. Then we have a lot of greenfield inbound projects. They were 236 in 2021 versus 169 in 2020. So again, a positive trend in terms of investment inflow to Italy. The reason to invest, or the reason to cooperate, to collaborate with Italy, it's a top EU economy, 8th largest world economy, 3rd largest in Europe with a GDP of 1.8 trillion. The domestic market, of course, offer many opportunities, not only in terms of Italian market or the European market, since you know it's a single European market. The European Union market is a single market. It's a very crucial, a strategic logistic hub. And it's a gateway, strategic gateway to 500 million European consumers. It's a bridge between Europe and Africa, Europe and Middle East. So it's I would say, even for Indian potential investor, it's a very strategic where to, operate for this. Also, research and development processes and Italy researches are worldwide. In terms of article of citation, Italy has 8 public-private national competence centers, and of course it's a key manufacturing player. So this is one of the reasons why the strategy of cooperation between Italy and India is a win-win strategy, as the president was mentioning earlier. We are the 5th largest manufacturing economy in the world, 8th largest exporters, as I already said, and we have a large ecosystem of small and medium-sized companies, more than 4 million small and medium-sized companies, the highest number in the world. It's a family business, small and medium, so very similar to the Indian ecosystem. So between the two segments of the economy, I think there is a lot of ground for cooperation. And we are also exactly. Again, it's a pro-investment culture. We have been consolidating in recent years a system of financial incentive, fiscal benefits, tax credits, subsidies for investment in capital goods, tax credits and patent box for investment in research and development and design, bonuses for employers to employ specific categories of people, especially in the southern part of Italy. And also, of course, we are a very competitive country. We have access to unique expertise. It's a centuries old expertise in machinery, robotics, design, automotive parts, pharmaceutical, fashion, and food, etc., etc. And in particular, we have an extensive network of SMEs and manufacturing cluster. We call them distritti industriali, industrial clusters, when you can find companies that are able to tailor-made their products according to the request of the customers, much better than any European, say, industrial system. The size of the companies are bit larger, but they are much more rigid. They are not able to absolutely be flexible and be able to the customer's needs. So because some innovation, process innovation and product innovation according to the request of the customer. So this is a very some Italian excellences, not very well known probably. We are, for example, the first for super yacht in the show. We are the second industry, third in Europe for the production of the pharma sector. First in Europe for number of certified products in big food sectors. 8, 23 for expectancy. Quality of the style, and of course the food, the healthy food we eat that is contributing to be one of the country where the life expectancy is high. A great way to 570 million customers from Northern Africa and Middle East. So we are a bridge, as I mentioned before, between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. And we have, of course, some big companies in the defense sector that the president was mentioning before. We have Leonardo. Leonardo is one of the major global player in the defense sector, aerospace, security, and actually an agreement, a cooperation memorandum has been negotiated between Italy and India, and possibly in the coming months. But of course, it's probably the Consul General could be more precise on that, should be finalized. So we will be able to have a stronger cooperation, even in the defense sector in the coming years. Yeah, some examples. Italy is first by number of citation, each 100 researchers, third by number of scientific publication on bioeconomy, second by grants rewarded by the European Council of Research, and third by success rate of patent activity. Yeah, some ideas about global expertise. Italy is leader in the circular economy. It's recycle most of its total amount of urban waste, more than any other country, almost 80%. It's number 1 in the world for World Heritage List sites. It's first place to Italy in locally based food farming. We have 842 geographical indication for food and wine. And we are third for specialization in space technology, and we are the leader in Europe in the observation of the Earth. So this probably are information that are not easily available and not very well known about Italy. Again, Italy is in terms of machine tools is second in Europe and fourth in the world for export of machine tools. It's a leader in the wood furnishing and furniture, of course, design, and made in Italy tiles are first in the world for export value, and also we are leader in the eyewear sector. You probably remember that we have Luxottica, Essilor is one of the most important, if not the most important player in the sector. Just a couple of words to say what we are. Italian Trade Agency is an Italian governmental agency supervised by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, supporting the business of Italian companies overseas, and also trying to promote Italian investments to, well, in this case, to India, and also attracting foreign investments to Italy. We provide information assistance services to Italian companies. We have a network of 75 offices, 79 offices all around the world. We are also acting as trade promotion officer of the Italian embassy and consulate. We have been operating in India since 1969, so we have a long tradition of operating in India and assisting Indian Italian companies in their trade relation. Two offices in India, one in Delhi, Mumbai, access services to our companies who assist them to get information, publication, market research, etc. And it's important we identify potential partners. We help Italian companies to identify potential partners in the to identify Italian partners. So B2B meetings. Of course, I will be happy also to answer to some questions that the president was asking me before, but I will be doing later on when my colleague will be concluding their.
Thank you, Mr. Liberatore, for that very informative presentation. May I now request Mr. Carlo Adami, Financial Attaché, Embassy of Italy in India, to deliver his address.
In the meantime, good morning to everybody. In the meantime that they are preparing my slide, I would like to thank you a lot of people. First of all, the president of the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this very interesting conference that I think is very important, especially for the timing of this conference. Then I would also like the Italy Chamber of Commerce and Industry, both the president and the chairman, for the very warm welcome that we have received both yesterday and today. Thank you very much. And I also would like to thank the Italian Consul General for the invitation and my colleague, the Trade Commissioner, for the support. And also I would like to thank you, all of you, for being present today here in this conference. First of all, I would say that the final purpose of my speech consists in a leave a kind of takeaway point that is that actually I think that this year, this moment is a very starting point for a new evolution of the economic relationship between Italy and India. I used to say that on the side of Italy, saying, this is the moment for Italy to increase the investment in this very high-growing country. We have seen that the growth rate is expected 6% for this year. That could be the highest probably in the world. And so my message, and at the end of the speech, what I would is nowadays there is a window of opportunity for all entrepreneurs, both Indian and Italian businessmen, in order to contribute to the further development of the economic relationship among these two countries. As the president of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce already said, India and Italy have a very long economic and also diplomatic relationship since the past. They are two ancient civilizations that have known each other have interacted and have traded for over 2000 years. So very long tradition in the economic relation. And even though there are very strong differences in culture, in way of thinking, both countries are have some similarities due to the fact that both of them are ancient civilization, and at the same time, what is more interesting, they are relatively young country if compared with the other nation. And formally, the political relations among India and Italy were established after the independence of India in 1947. And till this year, I could say that the two countries, for sure, enjoyed a very cordial relationship. However, how we will see later, this year represent a kind of watershed in which the relationship, the economic relationship among these countries upgraded to a more significant level, that is a strategic partnership that could offer this window of opportunity for all company interested in increase their business and increase the level of internationalization. Just some figures of the present of the economic relations among India and Italy. Some of these figures, as already presented by my colleague, the Trade Commissioner, we could say that the relationship are relevant now, but there is for sure room for strong improvement of this relationship. Italy is represent the India's top 5 trading partner in the European Union. It ranks the 18th position in foreign direct investment inflow in India. And more relevant, the bilateral trade among these two countries, as already said by my colleague, amount to, in 2022, to 15 billion of euro. Now, even though this amount is not so huge, what is relevant and what I want to highlight for you is that it doubled with respect the just 2 years. And more relevant, it increased with respect last year by more than 50%. So even though the figure is not so huge, what I want to show you is the trend. Now, as I said, there is an opportunity of growth in this economic relation, and each company and each business that can get this opportunity can for sure increase their profit and increase the level of internationalization that is important, but also contribute to the improvement of the economic relation. What also is relevant every time also the university, when I talk about the economic relationship among countries, one aspect that should be taken into consideration is some cultural linkages or the predisposition of people of different culture to match together. From this point of view, I could say that Italy play a relevant role in consideration that the Indian culture is something that has a strong impact also in the Italian academic level. There are more than 10 universities in Italy that carry out several classes and courses about Indian history, Indian cultures, Indian languages. So that means that there is a kind of natural predisposition of Italy to be receptive toward foreign investment, and in particular from Indian investment. And that is good for sure for an Indian company interested in making business in Europe or in Italy. Furthermore, there is already one of the most relevant, the third largest community, Indian community in Italy. That amount between, here the figures are not very clear, between 200,000 and 250,000 people. That could represent a kind of bridge in order to increase the opportunity to create some more bonds.
Know exactly, because some are legally resident and some are not. So the figures are not available.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, but most relevant, also the political and diplomatic relation that, as you know, represent an important driver in order to move investment, in order to support businesses abroad, are improving. And in particular, Italy has always supported all the multilateral initiative promoted by India, and it is one of the countries that belong in Europe to most of the working group or multilateral initiative promoted by India. So these to stress on the linkage that are not just economical or trading linkage. Maybe there are other countries, Europe, that for some specific industry have higher figures with respect to Italy, but there are some kind of not economical linkage between Italy and India that you know, could present some high value in order to increase more the growth of both countries. I will very close about this slide because my colleague has already presented very deeply about the figures of the economic, the bilateral trade between India and Italy. I just want to highlight one aspect, the trend. As I said, on year basis, the bilateral trade increase of 53%. So the trend, it's important, not the static figures, but the trend of the figures of the growth. And also in the first part of the years, the bilateral trade seems to confirm this trend of growth. So that means that 2022 was not just 1 year of growth, but it represents a trend of growth. And the 13 billions in United States dollar of bilateral trade are composed in 8 billion of United States dollar of Indian export and more than 5 billion in Indian import. In this slide, I just want to provide you some a kind of very quick picture of about which are the products they are exchanged in between the two countries. Indian export to Italy, iron ore, motor vehicles, gems, jewelry, leather, especially I suppose here in Kolkata. This is one of the industry of the leather. At the same time, India import from Italy machine tools and engineering items. But of course, according the expert opinion, there are there is room for increase import and export also in other industry that could be relevant for both countries. That is the watershed that gave that is going to give a very big acceleration in the opportunity to do business among the countries. And it is the meeting during the 80th Raisina dialogue in New Delhi between the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During this meeting, the level of political and diplomatic relation among the country upgraded to a level that is called strategic partnership. And this opened to a window of opportunity. The window of opportunity I was talking at the beginning of my speech, that highlighted the interconnection of European and in particular of the Mediterranean area with the Indo-Pacific region. And during this meeting, the Italian Prime Minister pointed out the Italian interest to increase the relationship with India. This will allow to create a new opportunity of collaboration in different area of business. Here I presented some opportunity. I just want to focus only in the first one, processing and manufacturing of goods. I've already said India is the fast growing country in the world. However, all the economists pointed out one weaknesses of the Indian economy, that it related to the low level of contribution of manufacturing in the growth of the gross domestic product. This is a very big limit. And for this limit, Italy could be the solution. Italy is a country that is characterized by a very strong manufacturing industry. It is the second one in Europe, and it is recognized all over the world. So increase the economic relation among the two countries, especially taking advantages of these areas of collaboration, could give also the opportunity to India to face these weaknesses. Consider that China or Taiwan generally have a contribution of manufacturing industry in the national gross domestic product that is nearly 25%. India has a contribution of manufacturing of 17%. So there is an important gap. And I can assure you, all economists in the world can assure you that in order to support a very strong growth, in order to resolve the problem of unemployment, a developing country has to increase the manufacturing. That is very important and relevant for the country. So the opportunity to take advantages of these windows of opportunity that is the upgrade of the relationship between Italy and India is a very good opportunity, is a chance that, according to me, India should not avoid to lose. Here just very few data about Italian economy. Of course, as all of you know, following the COVID-19 pandemic, all the country, specific European country and also Italy, showed a drop in output. However, nowadays we can say that the Italian economy recovery strongly. Employment level was the same than before the COVID-19 pandemic. And the level that is important because not only because my role, other than financial attaché, is representative of the Reserve Bank, the Bank of Italy, that is the equivalent of the Reserve Bank of India. And so it's important to supporting the real economy to have a performing banking system. The level of non-performing loans in Italy is nearly 3.1%. In India, just to give a kind of comparison, is 4.5%. So that means that the banking system in Italy is strongly resilient with respect to other countries. Another very limited information about the Italian economy. The GDP for sure is not the same of India. We have last year we had 3.7% of growth in gross domestic product. But actually, with the respect with the European country, is a quite a good figures. Furthermore, if you also see the previous year growth rate of 7%, shows that Italy was capable to recover to the pandemic, and at the same time to be resilient with respect to the actual war between Russia and Ukraine. The forecast for the next year is of a growth rate of 0.8% that I understand with respect the 5.9 or 6% of India is a low number. However, if you consider the different economies, the different demographic evolution, because we should take in consideration that India now have to have a very growth rate of growth due to the fact is in the middle of the demographic dividend. So that means in order to avoid an implosion of the national economy, have to grow at a very high rate of growth. The level of unemployment is the same, 7.8%, that is the same of the last figures of India, with a difference that in Italy, a 7.8 level of unemployment is more sustainable with respect to India because of a high level of net worth of household and families in Italy. The inflation, you can see that after the declining of the energy cost, now the inflation is starting to go under control, similarly to India. I will skip on the balance trade. The opportunity. This is one of the last slide and more relevant because it provides you 6 reasons for doing business in Italy. First of all, Italy is for sure one of the most important economy in the world. Is the third largest economy in Europe and the eighth. It ranks the eighth position in the world. Now the GDP is more or less near to 2 trillion, lower than the one related to India, that is more than 3 trillion of dollars. But with a big difference, if you look at the fact that Italy has 60 million of inhabitants as a market, so it's not a very huge, very big market. However, the per capita GDP is $30,000. So that means we have a market with less people, but with a capacity of buying that is very high. If you consider that the equivalent, the per capita gross domestic product of India is $2,000. So $2,000 compared with $30,000, it means that even a limited amount of people with a big capacity to buying could be a very interesting market. Furthermore, what is most interesting that, as already said by my colleague, in consideration of the fact Italy belongs to the European Union, by entering in Italy, you have the opportunity with a business, you have the opportunity to have as a market the whole European Union market. So we are talking about of 500 million of people. So it's something more consistent for sure. The position of Italy is strategic with respect to the other European country. It is in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, so close to the North Africa, to the East Europe, and is member of the Europe. So Italy could be considered, and actually similarly to India, in a different way, it is starting to be considered as an hub, a local hub, geographical hub, for doing business and increase internationalization of companies from foreign countries. Italy is a leading country in manufacturing and export. As I already said, is the second largest manufacturing economy in Europe, and that is relevant, the manufacturing for India. It has a very high skill workforce, thanks for the university, and the Made in Italy brand is recognized all over the world. I will conclude my speech with a very recent report by Ernst & Young, in which that could be taken into consideration for companies interested in doing business in Italy. According to this report, in 2021, Italy had the largest increase on foreign direct investment in Europe. So it ranked in 2021 the first position. And in particular, with 207 direct investment projects. So with an increase of 83% with respect to the previous year. The sector that attracting more the FDI were transportation, software and IT, this one very relevant for the Indian economy, logistics and business-to-business services. About in this report, the researchers made a kind of survey to some experts in order to have a forecast of the future growth of the foreign direct investment in Italy. And according to this survey, Italy is going to increase and to continue to attract foreign investment and it is placed at the fourth position in capacity to increase the attraction of foreign investment. And according to this survey, the main driver, the main reason for investing in Italy is the size of the market that, as already said, is the third largest in the European Union. And this is a very interesting element with which I would conclude this speech, a limited degree of competition, because differently from the other countries in Europe, the economy and industrial structure of Italy is constituted mainly by small and middle enterprise. So that means there are, in the better part of the Italian industry, a structure in which a foreign company can enter, and if is able to promote product and services of good quality, to have a very good competition, instead of other countries where there are kind of very big company that could create a position similar to monopoly or oligopolist situation, and in which for sure for a foreign company could be more difficult to make profit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adami, for that excellent presentation on India-Italy relations and the historical and cultural linkages of our two countries. May I now request Mr. Amit Roy, President, the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to make his presentation.
Hello. I know patience is running thin in the room, and I can understand. And I can understand why we are running thin of patience, but I have to do my job, and I'll be rather brief. Coming to the point, I think, of course, I go to the pleasantries and thank people around here, Bharat Chamber, not getting too much into detail for that, for organizing. I think the purpose is to bring Italy, an understanding of Italy to this part of India. To be very honest, we heard earlier when we are talking about Italy, I think the journey of Italy started with Fiat, Lambretta, Vespa. Then it moved to 3F, fashion, food, and Ferrari. But I think you have already seen Italy is much beyond fashion, food, and Ferrari. It is a G7 country. Machinery is the backbone. More than 400 billion of export, largely of machinery. This is unparalleled. And we are here today to share with you what Italy has to present. Before I get into, trust me, I will not repeat what the earlier speakers have spoken. It doesn't make sense. I will touch upon some of the key elements so that you can absorb. As I said, it's not very easy to be so patiently listening on a monosyllable presentations. I'm very much mindful of that. Before I get into that, I think it is important. What's the difference between ICE and Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce? We are the private arm. We are the only chamber recognized by Ministry of Finance. We have been in this country for more than 50 years, and we indulge in various activity to promote Indian, Italian investment. Also to keep this community of Indo-Italian community through various activity. That's our job. Here we have a local office in Calcutta. Of course, the COVID has created a gap. The effort is to revive. Today is the first session together with all the Sistema Italia. You know, we have ICE, we have the consulate, we have the
the whole actors of the Sistema Italia here trying to present their side of the Italy. I'll quickly go to the, I think to understand Italy, it is very important to understand what is the distribution of Italian companies in this country. If you look at the 4-5 big region, Delhi, the hubs that we are talking about, Delhi NCR, Maharashtra and West, Bengal and Kolkata, South and Tamil Nadu. Of course, I think there are two ways to look at it. Companies in the eastern region and Bengal are less, but the way I look at it, that's an opportunity. If we can build on this, it's a really big opportunity we are talking about. More than 600 companies, Italian companies are present in this country, generating 50,000 employment. That's not a small number. 2,000 brands. So these are headline numbers, and this is what we say, Italy is much beyond just the fashion, food, and Ferrari. Again, what are the sectors? We are always asked, one big way to look at what are the sectors that Italy can play a role is where the Italian companies are present. That's why we are here to share the breakup of all the industries that you are talking about. And you can see the diversity that we are talking about. That's huge. I think very few countries actually represent this diversity, right from machinery, infra, automotive, furniture, fashion, chemicals, pharma, agri, and aerospace, defense, aeronautics. I think this diversity is amazing. We can look at picking up, and it is very important when we talk about sectors. I'm fully mindful what are the sectors which are relevant for this part of India. President Mr. Khaitan talked about, certain sectors, and a lot of this fits, with the eastern part. How can we bring these companies to this part? That's the question which we have, and that's the question we can deliberate upon. Look at these are the way the companies are organized, almost 600 plus, 100%, 339 subsidiaries, JVs. Again, here people are looking at cooperation with the Italian companies. And you can see that 25% of these operating companies are JV companies. That means, they are very, very open to collaboration. This is one point which I will like, because I think many people are many times people are not open for collaboration. So yes, based on the case, there is a full collaboration available from the Italian side as well. That's the message this slide has to share. Look at what are the companies in terms of manufacturing that we have invested. Make in India with Italy. So that's the reflection. 270 Italian companies are present here, and that's the sectoral distribution. Again, very important slide. We are not talking about what will happen tomorrow. This is what is happening today. Machinery constitutes the backbone, and there is a breakup of the machinery, almost 34%. Auto and auto components, another big backbone, 23%. India today, we are talking about huge infrastructure investment, 16%. A lot of Italian companies have to offer here, and we can be part of this. And then the balance, which is 27%. What as a chamber we are doing? I think I will quickly go to some of the activities that we have done. We plan to do a small snippet. As I said, I don't want to be boring. Patients are running dry. We are planning to be in the month of June, to be in Italy. This is the annual trip to Italy, where we will be meeting all the institutions. We'll be meeting companies. We'll be meeting the sectoral delegations and sectoral chambers. Effort is, how do we bring two countries together, understand, and bring the message back to India? Again, Chamber organizes the Italian Company Award. What is Italy has to offer, the best of Italy. We did this in September, huge success. And this revolves around innovation and industry. Industry 4.0 is very, very critical when we are talking about, we heard our speakers talking about the robotics, a lot of research, IoT Italy has to offer. That's where, some of these awards focuses on sustenance and circular economy. Another backbone, no matter what you do, this is very integral, and Italian companies have a lot to offer. And as Italian company, we don't forget community building and social inclusion is very, very important. Whatever that we do, I think it is important to be socially responsible. So Italy is not just about manufacturing. It is about manufacturing in a responsible way. And that's where, when you look at the three foundations of our award, community building and social inclusion is a very important pillar. Some of the awards, some pictures of the event that we did. Business conclaves, we are planning in the October in Bangalore. We keep on moving across India with various activities, with all the actors of Italian ecosystem will be part of this. That's planned to be done in October 2023. We did in, the 1st November in Mumbai, we had done the conclave. That's why looking at Bangalore. We did this in Pune. Other big platform that we have is Festa Italia. Largely, the Festa Italia is about the lifestyle, the Italian lifestyle. We want to bring it to India. And this is a very wide canvas, right from fashion and accessories, food and wine, furniture and design, automotive, everything gets exhibited under this platform. Some of the pictures there. Another important platform is the Italian Tech in India. We did very successfully here, along with everybody present here, with everybody's blessings. And as we all know, Italy has a lot to offer. We're planning the next event in January 2024. These are the snippets of some of the pictures of the event that we did, successfully hosted, and really appreciated by the companies. Humongous participation, a lot of footfalls. Another element is Invest in Italy. I'm again not getting into the merits. How do we streamline various difficulties people have? How can we make investment in Italy easier? How can we bring in the partners who can help with this? That's our effort through this summit. Various partners who work with us, sponsors, so we have right from consulting firm, bankers, manufacturers. And last, what is Indo-Italian Chamber? We are here for more than 50 years. There is a small video. Mr. Parekh is going to show us that video of our long history. We have offices across India, 5. And one of them happens to be in Calcutta. We are not just Mumbai-centric. You can well see for yourself across industry, individual and institutions we are spread across. Activities are right from industrial activity to how do we bring the community activity together. One of the important area we work is the advocacy and lobbying, a very, very big area. I'm not getting into the details and the value proposition, but I think which is very, very important is a shared learning and a platform. Today, we are working and collaborating with Bharat Chamber here. I think this is a beginning, because we know that what Bharat Chamber has to offer can't be offered by Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce. Likewise, there could be certain mutual collaboration in these areas. And I'll stop here. Before this, beyond this, I think there are 3-4 other areas that as a chamber we're very active is how do we bring in, we talked about not just India, Italy, can we bring in a broader canvas of EU? On that, there is a discussion, not just discussion, FEBI, which is the Federation of EU Business of Commerce, again, a policy advocacy. Imagine if Italy were to go to government and make a representation, France do, Germany do, but some of the areas are very, very common. Effort is this chamber will become, this is not a B2B chamber. This is only for the business collaboration. And we are working, this will take place within this year. I also heard President talking about FTA. That's not my domain. Maybe I will rather request our dear Consul General to talk about it. Other area is Green Hydrogen Club we have formed. Sustainability is a very, very important area. We are working with all the Italian companies and already a big push. We are also trying to collaborate with the other very big manufacturer is Germany. So we did the joint collaboration with Germany on manufacturing and automotive. How? Because, most of these companies are vendor to each other. Issues are common. So limited point that we are presenting here is we are not just limiting ourselves to the country corridor. We are much beyond. And this collaboration extends across to EU areas. That in a brief from the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your patience. And thank you once again for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Roy, for that very focused and crisp presentation. May I now request Mr. Pankaj Parekh to make the presentation, please.
Good afternoon, friends. First of all, I thank Bharat Chamber for giving this opportunity. Without much ado, I come straight to the point that Mr. Amit Roy was trying to prove that there is a big room to do business for Eastern India, to do business with Italy. And to cash that, you may approach the regional chamber. Our chamber originally is more than 50 years, but in Calcutta, we are here for more than 27 years. And we have very thick and good relation with Bharat Chamber. So in case anybody wants to do anything with Italy, you're more than welcome to approach the chamber. And we are inside the premises under one window system of Italy in the premises of the consulate. And you can approach us, or even Keka is our agent planted into Bharat Chamber. So you can tell her and she'll help you out. Jyoti, can you start? On a lighter note, I shared seats with very important people, but I never had the opportunity to sit next to Mr. Adani. Today I have reached up to Mr. Adani. Maybe soon I'll be next to Adani as well. We show a small, brief video about what our chamber is doing. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Parekh, for that lovely video. May I now request our guest in chief, Mr. Gianluca Rubagotti, Consul General of Italy in Kolkata, to deliver his address.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Being the only one who didn't feature in the video of all the Italian presence in Italy, let me conclude this seminar. I would like to draw the attention of the president on a couple of points that he raised. Free trade and currency. You know, let's not elevate too much the expectations from this gathering. These are EU topics, no? So it's not the Italian government on its own, and definitely it's not the Italian consulate here. But let me tell you, free trade, last year, I focused a little bit more on studying the history and the role of India in the WTO, because it was published in a book. If you want, I will send you privately. And you have to admit, you have a history of not being the most open country in the world. There is a certain rigidity here. We were mentioning the 3F, which are actually 4 because I would add also furniture. So my question could be, why can't I find good cheese, Italian cheese here in India? Why can't I find good wine here in India? Where is the problem? Isn't there a barrier to trade here that we could try to reduce or to avoid? And by saying this, I'm raising an issue that has been put to my attention by the operators in these sectors. The operators are Indian citizens and Indian businessmen. So we have a rigidity from this side, but of course I don't want to hide, we have rigidity also on the other side, because you don't have to forget that the EU acts for 27. I mean, we both love extended families, but we know how painful it is to get too many people to agree on something. So the positions of the EU, once it's possible to get a single position, then of course they're rigid, because you cannot, I mean, if you have a sort of a settlement of a series of interests, then you can shift it too much, because if somebody is happier, somebody would be less happier. So the difficulties in this free trade agreement is, I think, on one side, a rigidity which is historical on opening up to foreign goods. And on the other side, this point of having to put together 27 different, because the European Union is a family, but in which there are also competitions between countries, between sectors. So it's very difficult to find a common position to push forward. And I said, let's enlarge it to furniture as well, and also to buildings, because you know, this is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Italy, which is lifestyle. Do we want to get rid of this? Of course not. We would like to enhance this part of the 4Fs. But there are problems. Why isn't it possible to have in high-end constructions more Italian quality in the finishings, in the material you use, in the furniture, in what you bring to the attention of course, I'm not talking about simple kind of housing, but I'm talking about of high level and high quality constructions. We could do more also in this. In food, we have said, why is it so difficult, especially in this part of India, to find more Italian brands? Is it really a threat to the local production? To be honest, I don't think these products are different. You cannot think that the same kind of products you replicated anywhere in the world and it's the same. It's not, because it derives from the raw material, from where it grows, from the environment. So I think a little bit more of openness in this field could be appreciated. Fashion, we have talked already. We have textile, we have leather, which is very good and is growing. And then we have to consolidate this part, and then we have to move to the other sectors which were identified. But the starting point is knowledge. I'm sure that most of you didn't know at least a chunk of the information that was given. And that's why I was very happy that my colleagues from Delhi accepted to come. This gentleman, Adami with an M, for the first time, and also the president from Mumbai for the first time. Alessandro, the Trade Commission, was already here, and he was also present in another seminar at the BGBS that we had last year. So let me conclude with one clear, simple message. I'm very happy that for the first time in a seminar, but maybe because the floor was not given to you, I have not been asked about that word which starts with VI and ends with SA. But let me send you a clear message. We are here for you. So use us, make use of us, possibly don't abuse us, but we are here to help you. So you have different hooks that you can make use of. You have the consulate, of course, you have the chamber here with the local chapter and also in Mumbai, and we have the Trade Commission. Although he sits in Delhi, he will always be able and willing to help you through the consulate that is representing here this part of India. So this is a positive message. We are here for you, but you have to start thinking of what can be done in a more concrete fashion. In the sense, we have given you some ideas. Make up your mind, try to think if you need something from Italy, some collaboration. As it was said before, Italian companies are normally very open also in terms of transfer of technology, collaboration, JV. We are here. We are ready to meet you whenever you want privately and to help you also to reach out to relevant companies in Italy. I think, President, this is the sort of message through which we can wrap up this session, unless there are some questions, if you want to leave some space for the Q&A.
Thank you, Excellency, but I can only tell you that we love Italian wine, we love Italian cheese. People go all the way to Italy to have wine holidays. I mean, you know, so it's not that, yeah, there is, you know, what the country was, India was before, as far as the restrictions were concerned, and what the country today is India as far as openness is concerned. I used to remember when I used to go abroad, I used to bring chocolates with me. I used to bring sauces with me. I used to bring a lot of food items with me. Today, I don't bring anything. I mean, honestly speaking, we get all the chocolates, we get all the cheeses. You have apples, you get around the year. You have the Australian apple, you have the American apple. So therefore, it's not that openness is not there. Maybe, you know, there is a high tariff barrier is there. But as I said, that this can only be resolved only when we have the free trade agreement. I mean, that's the answer. As I said, that the free trade agreement is the answer. I know I'm not the person to do it. It's the government of India does it. But we are also one of the persons who give suggestions to the government of India that it's high time that you start having free trade agreement. I think from the Italian chambers of commerce, I think they should be also making this point. As far as the rupee trade agreement is concerned, when we have a rupee trade agreement with other countries like Great Britain and other countries, important countries, why can't we now have a rupee trade agreement with Italy? I mean, these are the points which, as a catalyst, as I said that, but we are there to promote Italy. We are there to promote not only Italy, we are there to promote business. I still remember I went to Sorrento, and that was the year of 1982. I must tell you this is very interesting. And I bought a bar table, you know, and it was imported. And I'm still using that bar table, which the Sorrento has that, you know, that furniture. So
because this is the difference between buying stuff from Italy and from other countries, which I will not mention. It would have never lasted for 40 years.
I mean, that's why I said I still use it. And that's the quality, and that's the quality of your furniture. So the most important thing is, according to me now, is that we need connectivity. I mean, I think that's the key of today's meeting. We need connectivity. I would like, how do we, people who are doing exports to leather goods to Italy, people who are going textile exports to Italy, you know, how do we connect those traders to different organizations? I think if your embassy can help us in that. I mean, that connectivity is very important, because when we go to a foreign country, you know, we go to the fixed persons, we know we don't have much of idea. I think if this can be helped, that, you know, if you are exporting this particular item, these are the persons whom you can connect. I think we will have a discussion on that how do we connect people who are doing trade with Italy? How do we connect those people who want in a small scale sector? And if we can identify farm products, which you can tell us that these are the products, these are the machineries, which is SME manufacturers, and this is what you can produce. We can, you know, connect with the SME and say that you can produce these items as far as these particular items are concerned, because I personally feel connectivity is most important, identify the product is most important, and what we can export and what we can import is more important. Again, these are the areas where I think the Italian Pankaj Bhai, this would be very, very important that if we can have a discussion on that. With that, I will have the floor open. Yeah, Umesh ji, Pritish, you do a lot of work in Italy. You have a plant running in Italy. What is your experience? I mean, how do you perceive of your experience of doing business in Italy?
Sure. So, thank you, President, and thank you to everybody else from Delhi, from Mumbai, from the embassy, and to Gianluca for being here, for organizing this very informative session, and to Bharat Chamber, of course, for having everybody here. So, a lot of the points that were mentioned throughout the various presentations and the talks really resonated with me on a personal and a company level. Because as Titagarh Rail Systems, we have a subsidiary in Italy called Titagarh Firema, which is, as we envisage it to be a marvel of Italian engineering. It's one of the largest single manufacturing facilities in all of Italy, based in Caserta. In fact, when you mentioned that a lot of engineering goods and manufacturing goods are being imported from Italy into India, that reminded me that very soon there will be high value engineering goods being imported into Italy from India. So that is a change that will happen very soon in the next few months from our facilities in Titagarh. That also opens up an opportunity that if we can do it, why can't others? The items at the end of the day are the same. And if you really go into the details of the quality, you will find that Indian MSMEs and Indian manufacturers, the quality of the products that they manufacture is at par, if not better than most of the other places on the planet. In terms of cost competitiveness, the president, Mr. Pachisia, all of them have already touched upon India as being the best cost manufacturing country. I choose not to say lowest cost, I choose to say best cost manufacturing country. So our experience in Italy has overall been very positive. Going forward, there are a lot of areas for growth in the collaboration between, I can speak from just the perspective of Titagarh, but there is a lot of potential in the growth of the business between India and Italy in Titagarh, and definitely in the railway business. For the other sectors, I would, of course, leave it to the others who are much more experienced than me to comment. But from the railway perspective, there is definitely a lot of scope for Indo-Italian ventures. In fact, you can also see an Indo-Italian product, the Pune Metro in operations in Pune, which brought the first aluminium metro to India, thanks to, again, Italian engineering and Indian manufacturing. So I think that just sums up a lot of everything that Mr. Liberatori and Dr. Rubagotti and Mr. Adami said. So with that, I pass it on back to.
No, I have something similar to share. You see, very recently when I was in Italy, we've been manufacturing home textiles for many years and been doing business there. But this time we collaborated with an Italian company who is also based out of Como. Now they were selling all their products basically in the EU countries, and they have a strong branding there. We have a good marketing network in USA, and they were not selling their goods in the US market. So we collaborated with them that we will be doing third-party export, where we will be marketing their products, because that is something what they manufacture, we don't manufacture here in India. So for us, it's a expansion of business for them as well. And so we are now going to be selling their products in the US market. So this is another opportunity that many people can explore, that Italy is so strong in manufacturing in so many products that maybe you are strong in certain other countries where they are not being able to reach. So the world has opened up. You don't need to only restrict trade between Italy and India, expand it to other countries as well.
Yeah, in fact, Manaxia has been exporting a lot of steel to Italy at the moment. And for the warehousing purposes or sandwich panels. So Italy is a very big market for us at the moment. And we see the business to grow. In fact, we are adding our capacities. We are doubling our capacities because we are unable to meet the growing demand which is coming out of Europe. So in fact, that has also helped because China has been barred from EU to export. The other thing is on the chemical front. In fact, we had been a vehicle for Endura SPA in Bologna. They had set up a plant in Calcutta. I mean, and so Manaxia has been a partner in that. I mean, so we have been working with the Italians for many years, and that plant is located in Singur. Yeah.
I am from Association of Interior Architect and Builders. This year, April, every year we in a group go to Milan Fair, Saloni Dale. This year also we have gone at least 100 of architects. Furniture is a very big market in Eastern India and surrounding all the states. Sir, Italy produce really a very good quality of furniture. We want kindly look into this industry, and there is a very positive market in Eastern India for this. Thank you. Sir, we have more than 400 interiors are member in our association. Everyone wants that at least some kind of relations between, because they go to exhibition, but getting that furniture in India, I mean, we need some kind of
And I was exactly trying to say the connectivity.
yes.
How do we connect you to the manufacturers? But then when you go to the exhibition, you are already connected with the
Sir,
manufacturer.
just simply they go visit, they see, look at the good quality, everything. They go to China, they go to Italy, but everyone is very positive.
So what I suggest, I think, with the point which you are saying, that the trade commissioner, embassy of Italy can be a great help to you. I think the chamber can coordinate and connect you with the trade commissioner. I think sir, that's a possibility. I mean, there should not be a
Yeah.
problem.
One more suggestion that I have is, now you have witnessed the relationship between Bharat Chamber of Commerce, Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce, and the Consulate of Italy and the embassy. Why not your association and Bharat Chamber of Commerce? Let's have a proper working arrangement, and we will facilitate everything. We'll facilitate everything.
Sir, we have one more point. We organize largest exhibition of furniture every year in Milan Mela, where at least we cover more than 2 lakh square feet. We need if some kind of
I agree with you. I think we need a collaboration with the organization, because the toy manufacturer.
yes.
130 toy manufacturers here, they did an exhibition in Nesaji Road Stadium, and they have become part of that investment. To collaborate with Bharat Chamber of Commerce, as far as your domestic sale is concerned, and we connect with the Italian counterpart as far as the import of furniture from the.
Sir, this will be great help to our association also. Yes, we'll do that. Thank you.
Any other person?
Good afternoon, His Excellency and the respected President of the Chamber of Commerce. Now heard as really remarkable speeches and everything, and I learned a lot of things. My only simple thing is that I have experienced my 50 years of service career, and everybody has a staple food of rice. Just request that we used to import from Milan the IMA C29 Bologna, the machine, tea bag machine, dip, which is the world's best tea bag machinery. It's nowhere being produced. And that to import over here for getting the best quality of the tea. That nature, nor we carry out like that product. That is expanding every day and day. Similarly, we have our own rice mill, we have productions, captive productions in Bologna. In that, the EMA group has that capacity, and they are also associated with that type of food processing units. They can give us the good productions for the machineries for the rice blending and other advanced technology, so that we can go ahead with a better quality of the rice, even in comparison to the organic rices. So that is my thing, that if we can have any sort of joint ventures, anything or like that, it will be very helpful for that in the Bengal, as well as for the, not only for the Eastern India, but whole of India will be great benefited to that. That's my question. Thank you.
I mean, we can for sure put you in touch with the Italian company, but then I cannot oblige them to get into a business venture with you. So we will be very happy to arrange for you to go and have the contacts with this company. You will easily get that piece of paper that you need to go to Italy, and then it will be up to you and them to hopefully be able to put something together.
Yeah. Just to add to His Excellency's remarks, you must have seen in the presentation made by Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce, and in Kolkata, there are housed in the consulate premises. And one of the things that they do is certainly connect B2B. So they will do that. So this is not only for you, gentlemen, but for everybody. Just wanted to emphasize this point. They are there to take care of all your needs in terms of connecting you with your counterparts in Italy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I'd like to say something. My name is Ajit Sen. I'm from Lakshmi Tea. I'm associated with tea where I use the Italian for 3 weeks, and is full of it. They are very good machines. We are getting some more machines into the industry, but the total support or manufacturing support and even the small parts that are required, whole machine will be manufactured here immediately, but the support part, time, so some sort of a collaboration in for tea machinery. We are the largest manufacturer of tea, and yet our machineries are imported, and it takes arrangement by which manufacturing companies come here and give the support for the supply part of the chain will be helping the industry very much. Thank you.
Of course, I will be happy to provide you personally out of my pocket the spare parts, but I cannot do it. So I will be very happy if some sort of arrangement with the company can be arranged. But as I told you, we are here to help you to connect. Then you cannot expect us to influence the outcome of a private to private business operation. Of that, I'm sure you are fully aware.
The point
To add to His Excellency, I must say that I'm sure you are in touch with the machinery manufacturers based in India and Kolkata. If you could encourage them to connect, this will be much better and faster. And I'm sure a couple of them would be encouraged when they listen when the customer actually gives them a suggestion, they will listen to it much more seriously.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we have actually now it's 10 to 2. We have had one of the longest meetings. So yeah, okay.
Your Excellency, I'll just take you off track of all the topics we have been discussing and exchanging. On a lighter or social cause, Italy happens to be a powerhouse in bridge, that is the card game. They were they have been dominating the world bridge for since the World War. And for your information, now India has last 4 years grown up to be a very good performer, winning world championship medals. So that's one area on social platform where Italy and maybe during your tenure we'll have some exchange of bridge in this city, because Bengal happens to be the leading bridge players of India.
I didn't know. Thank you for.
Yeah, so I got the opportunity to talk to you. So
I don't
this is-
play bridge, so I have no clue.
yeah, but your country is one of the top teams in the world for last 50 years. Anyway, apart from that, Your Excellency, I have a curiosity about the social economic part of your country. I was just following your presentation that you're the third highest populated country in the European Union. The fact is also your TFR rate is way below the danger level. Now, my question to you is, do you feel that the global current scenario where to maintain your culture, your industry, should be, because this is a challenge to many of government that has fallen on the TFR rate, total fertility rate. So do you feel that the change will be bringing immigrants to run your industry? Or because this is in my particular state, Bengal, we are also suffering from this TFR rate. So do you feel in future the immigrants will take over the change of demography? It's just your opinion.
Yes, I talk on a personal note on this, and you're probably asking the wrong questions, because I'm proud to say that I want to contribute to the zero growth of population by not having any kids. So I don't think you are asking the question to the right person. I don't see it honestly as a huge problem. I mean, the population is growing. Instead of have more pediatrics, you will have more geriatrics. You will have to reorientate your economy. I think 7 billion people in the world. It's quite difficult. 8. It's quite difficult to say that the population, the lack of population is something. I mean, we are maybe a little bit too many, considering the resources of the world, because they are not inexhaustible. You can see what's happening to the glaciers. Somebody's predicting that in 20 years there will be wars to get water, drinkable water. So I leave it to you. But
Anyway, sir, I think this was.
Sir,
Yeah.
one more question. Like,
But it must be
can
in
I
relation to,
just-
no, but you
No,
must
no,
be in
no.
relation to the subject here.
Yes.
Nothing
To
beyond
His
that, yeah.
Excellency, I must say that I am using the Italian furnitures in my house, and I have purchased that, and it looks as new as it was been purchased. So that is one of the very good thing. And one more question, that whatever was been exported from India to Italy, most of the leather goods and everything was been a little like furnished with the golden this thing, and it has been written made in Italy. So why not the things which is coming from Italy to India, it should be written there, made in India?
I have not understood your question.
No, the things which was exported from India, from Indian, this thing like gloves or purse or whatever it was, like belts and all, where you put there in the factory, it has been like furnished a little this thing with the golden 24 karat golden, this thing has been given, and it has been labeled that made in Italy. So the things which are coming from Italy to India, can Indian write down there made in India? Label that.
like purses and
You
all.
know, the made in India, the made in Italy sign is something which makes the brand more recognizable, and if you allow me to say, even more appreciated by the customer. I had some of the business community here asking me, "Oh, why don't these producers of this particular light come and produce here in Kolkata, and then they will sell these very expensive lights to Bangladesh?" I said, maybe because they're not interested to sell 1 million pieces at a lower price. They want to keep the brand exclusive with less number of products and to keep higher the value of the made in Italy brand. That can be maybe.
I was in Bangladesh a month back. I'll answer your question. You will see my coupling here. It is YSL. They manufactured in Bangladesh, but it is written YSL. Because they are a contractor, they are manufacturing for the person in France. So therefore, they will not say made in Bangladesh. You understand? So let that a question in relation to this. So may I request Vikram, please? Okay.
No, just one thing. It's a matter of a global supply chain. So a product is not necessarily made 100% in a country. So it's a matter of the value, added value in the country, where the added value is contributing in the country. So it's according to international rules. So there are, if the added value, I mean, out of 100, if the added value is happening in Italy for 50% to 55%, so it's supposed to be made in Italy. If the added value is 50% in India, it's supposed to be made. So it's the transforming size for the product, how much is given to one country and another country. So, and of course, it's a matter of who is the contractor, if I'm the contractor and asking you to produce on behalf of me a certain product, so of course that product, according to my specification, I'm providing you everything. So it's of course it's supposed to have my label, not your label. No, that's but it's a in all sector, not just in the.
We will have the vote of thanks delivered by Mr. Vikram Tantia, Chairman of the Global Trade Subcommittee. But both the audience and dignitaries, I would request you to please bear with us for another 5-7 minutes, because after the conclusion of the vote of thanks, we would like to present mementos to our dignitaries. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Our chamber president, Ketanji, said his bread and butter comes from Italy. Part of my bread and butter also comes from Italy, as I have had the privilege of doing business for 30 years from them. So it's a real honor to give the vote of thanks on this session. So at the end of the chamber's second special session in the series, India's G20 presidency, path to ensure last mile inclusivity, it is my most pleasant duty to propose a very hearty vote of thanks to our guest in chief, Dr. Gianluca Robagotti, Consul General of Italy in Kolkata. Thank you, sir, for play the key role in supporting and coordinating in organizing the special session and sparing some of your valuable time in addressing the members of the chamber today. I would also like to thank our key speakers, Mr. Alessandro Liberatore, Trade Commissioner, Embassy of Italy in India, Mr. Carlo Adami, Financial Attaché, Embassy of Italy in India, Mr. Amit Roy, President of Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Mr. Pankaj Parekh, Chairman, Eastern Regional Council, the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and the Industry, for sharing the valuable insights and observation on leveraging Indo-Italian business and investment collaborations. 2023 marks the 75th year, the Diamond Jubilee of India-Italy bilateral relations, coinciding with India's G20 presidency. It is now time to further strengthen the ties that I'm positive that we will be able to do so. With these words, I would request all of you to join me in carrying a hearty vote of thanks to Dr. Gianluca Robagotti and our key speakers with appreciative acclamation. Thank you so much. Over to you, Keka.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to present mementos. We will start with Mr. N.G. Khaitan, President, presenting a memento to His Excellency, the Consul General of Italy in Kolkata. May I request Mr. Vikram Tantia, Chairman of the Global Trade Subcommittee, to present a memento to Mr. Alejandro Liberatori, the Trade Commissioner of the Embassy of Italy in India. I would now request Mr. Naresh Pachisia, Senior Vice President of the Chamber, to present a memento to Mr. Amit Roy, President of the Indo-Italian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Pachisia, I would request you to now present the memento to Mr. Carlo Adami, Financial Attaché, Embassy of Italy in India. Mr. Pachisia would now be presenting a memento to Mr. Pankaj Parekh, Regional Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we conclude the session and everybody is requested to join lunch, please. Thank you.